channel.
Or you just write your name on the comment section on the YouTube link that I will share. That's your attendance will be there.
Okay, doctor.
Ano tayo ako tapos itulak yung sila. Layo.
Wala di folder nito mali.
Yeah, okay natin. Okay na tayo. Okay natin din.
Saan?
Okay, lapit na natin. Okay na.
Thank you.
అవి అంతవరకు పోలేదు అడిగితే మనం చూసుకున్నాం
Okay, for your attendance, go to the YouTube link that I shared and sign your student number and name there. We'll start in 5 minutes. Okay, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
YouTube link పెట్టండి.
Yung mga Amerikano na,
Good afternoon.
diba?
So we're done with the first semester topics of family medicine.
Oh,
Okay.
kahit hindi kilala, tinatawag.
We'll be starting with our second semester topics, which will mainly focus on biostatistics. This will be helpful when you do enter your second
brother,
year
happiness.
and go into your research endeavors. Okay. So, what is biostatistics? And the scope of what biostatistics is will be discussed in this lecture this afternoon. Objectives for this lecture, okay, you should be able to
Yung mga anak ni Jomer, kamukha nila ito eh.
explain what is biostatistics and its importance. Describe the phenomenon of variability. Differentiate. Okay. What you should differentiate would be descriptive and inferential statistics, constant and variables. What are qualitative and quantitative variables? What are discrete and continuous quantitative variables? And levels of measurement, either nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. Okay. So what is statistics? So as a singular, as a noun, statistics is a science which deals with the collection, organization, analysis, and interpretation of numerical data. So it's the science, the discipline where you collect, organize, analyze different data that's numeric. For plural, it's a set of data or a mass of observations. So these would usually be a statistics. So it is a statistics to public health, medicine, ecological environment, and agriculture. It's the science which will deal with statistics. Data will be varied. So there's a tendency that characteristics that are measurable changes with respect to person, place, and time. For example, the COVID virus statistics will change depending on the date, will change depending on the place, will change depending on the immunocompromised state of a person. And knowing these statistics is important for us to make policies, interventions for a pandemic like coronavirus. Another example would be your body mass index. We will have different BMIs per person, per place in time, and depending on your nationality. And you will need statistics to analyze variability in order to describe a certain characteristic so that we make a valid conclusion. Where do we use statistics then? So data reduction technique. So we have our census, which we usually see in hospitals. For example, we look at the admissions per day, per department, etc. Or a survey. We go to a certain population and then we could also use for objective appraisal and evaluation. So when you look at, am I likely to benefit from taking this medicine or not? So what's the number needed to treat is an important question in statistics. How many patients do I have to give this intervention? For example, amlodipine as a hypertensive drug, and how many will benefit from the ones given. So understanding this can help anyone discriminate between what is fact, what is fancy, or what is simply coincidence. And because of this, it's a helpful tool in the decision-making process. So what drug should I recommend for my patient? What's the best drug for diabetes? Metformin or the other more advanced drugs that you see. So those are the uses. And the need to study such would be essential for people that's into research, into management, or like we be helpful as medical doctors if we could understand these concepts for ourselves. Research statistics aids the researcher in describing using numbers. So we see present and data in a form that will make it easier to analyze and interpret. So these would be the numbers that would happen. Same with coronavirus. Okay. So what are the processes involved in inference? So it's the statement of an objective, data collection. Is this better? Is the sound better?
Yes, Doc.
Okay. Statement of how we data sampling. Okay. Analysis using appropriate statistics, interpretation, and withdrawing inferences regarding the population. Okay. What's the nature? Okay, like it or not, statistical data should be expressed numerically or quantitatively. It could be also qualitatively expressed. It is treated as a mass or group of observations. And as we have looked at variability, it is subject to variation. Okay. So what are the concepts? So there's a constant. So it's fixed or changing measurement or phenomena. What are the constants that you are familiar with? So anything that you do, it does not change. Okay? So you have your different values for different members of a group or set. And unlike your constant, it's forever the same value. Okay? Have your quantitative variables versus your qualitative. Quantitative, you are dealing with numbers here. So quantitative would be
Excuse me, Doc.
your numbers with decimal curves, no decimal points, no fractions. For example, number of children. There's no 2.5 children. There's only 2 or 3. Okay? So that's the difference between a continuous and a discrete variable. Know how to identify such. Quantitative variable, you have your, yes? You have question?
Doctor, your voice is
Qualitative, you have your nominal, you have your qualitative ordinal. What's the other would not have any rank. Your first, second, third one would be like ranking it from 1 to 3. Nominal, you just have your bad, etc. So there's no higher or lower value. Okay. Common mistake, for example, you have a room 3
Excuse me, doctor.
Three one four in this case is used as a qualitative variable. Okay. So as mentioned, there are types of variable. The qualitative categories are simply used to distinguish one group from another. Okay. Numerical representation is used for labeling and not for comparison. Okay. As to your quantitative variables, so indicate a quantity, it can be expressed numerically. So can be arranged according to magnitude. So it can either be discrete, integral values or whole numbers, and continuous, including fractions or decimals. So measurement, it's the process of assigning qualitative or quantitative information to characteristics of people, objects or events according to rules. So we have levels of measurements. Okay, so nominal would be the lowest level. So it is just a classificatory scale where the categories are used as labels only. Okay? So number or names, which represent a set of mutually exclusive and exhaustive classes to which individuals or objects may be assigned. For example, you have your sex, you have your race, blood groups, etc. In ordinal, have same characteristics as for nominal scales with the additional feature that the classes can be ordered or ranked. However, the distance between two categories cannot be clearly quantified. For example, in the Likert scale, you have your strongly disagree, disagree, agree, and strongly agree. So, age groups, child, teenager, adults. So that is ordinal. We also have intervals. So the same characteristics as for ordinal scales with the additional feature that the distances between all adjacent classes are equal. Conceptually, these scales are infinite in that they have neither beginning nor ending. So your 0 point is arbitrary and does not mean absence of the characteristics. So your interval measurement ratios don't make any sense. So for example, 80 degrees is not twice as hot as 40 degrees. Then you have your ratio. So you have same characteristics for ordinal scales with the additional feature that the meaning for 0 point exists. So you have your ratio of two numbers can be meaningfully computed and interpreted. So for example, we have your weight for height, doctor visits, number of teeth. Measured using different scales could be transformation, ratio to lower level of measurements. So you could desire to have a higher level of measurement rather than a lower one. Okay? And you have to determine what type of statistical technique that can be most appropriately applied to the data. So this would be the ranking. Lowest would be nominal, then ordinal, then you have your interval, then you have your ratio. So in summary, so this would be your definition of biostatistics. So it's any use of numbers that's applied in your biological sciences. We know that in any statistics, we have your variation. Okay. And uses of statistics were mentioned and enumerated, especially in research. And we have your descriptive and your inferential statistics and processes that involve inferences. And nature of statistical data, we have your qualitative and your quantitative data. Qualitative data would be nominal or ordinal. Quantitative data would be discrete and continuous. Okay, know how to distinguish and identify what type of data one example falls under. And you have the levels. Lowest would be your nominal, then ordinal, and then your interval, and then ratio. Of course, as you gather data and collect data and use it, it is more ideal to use something that is more higher level, such as your ratio, over using nominal data classification. Okay? Types of variable as mentioned, levels of measurement as mentioned. Okay. So for the rest of the semester, we will look at all of these things at a closer perspective. Okay. We will see data, sources of data. We will look at your how we collect data. We look at measurements of central tendency. We look at your reliability of data, etc., and sampling methods. Okay, this just serves as an overview of the whole semester that we will be looking at. Okay, so any biostatistics book, you could use a reference, although I would do upload a reference book that we would recommend and easy to understand. Okay, I will just upload it in the MS Teams, or I will send the link to your liaison officers. Any questions? Sorry, I have